Okay, let's talk about some shoulder specific love and attention, really. And the dog, again, dive bombing the screen. So, obviously, shoulders do take a lot of pressure, and a lot of discomfort comes into the shoulders and into the neck. I've obviously done brief videos on shoulder care previously, but I wanted to just do a few more exercises for you to really get working into there and hopefully make you more comfortable. Obviously, again, in the absence of not being able to get into a clinic. So I'll stop fussing the dog for 5 seconds. One of the best things to do, just to get some gentle mobility into your shoulder capsule and the joint, and I would probably start with this, is just what we call the pendulum. So you're going to lean down, keep your back relatively straight, you know, don't hunch down or don't sort of arch your back, but you're just going to use the weight of your arm to just swing. I'm not forcing that would be me forcing it, but we're just letting the weight of my arm gently move the tissues around, and the ball in the socket there is just gently going. You can swing it backwards and forwards and side to side as well if you like. So you could do that for about maybe a minute or two on each shoulder before then going into these stretches. It just gets things moving a little bit. If you do hear any popping or cracking or anything like that, provided it's not painful, that's okay. What you'll find is if your shoulder's been a little bit sticky, you will naturally hear pops and you know, the odd click occasionally. As I say, if it's not painful, don't panic. They are natural. You might find that actually you hear my shoulder and my elbow clicks quite frequently, so during this you may well hear it do that. It's not a painful click, it's not anything that's, you know, anything to be concerned about. So one of the first stretches you would go on to, or you can do them in any order, but the way I tend to do it, I tend to want to get some movement into here. The jobs that I do tend to get quite tight in the shoulders, and certainly towards the end of the day, if I've been treating all day, I find that my shoulders are hunching up, and therefore the upper traps here get quite tight. And obviously people I see in clinic get quite tight in their upper traps too. Doesn't really matter what walk of life you're in or what job you're doing, we tend to take a lot of brunt in our shoulders anyway. So what I would do, if you keep your arm down, some people tend to sit on their hand to make sure the shoulder's staying down. You don't have to do that. I'm going to, for the purposes of making sure I'm demonstrating this for you. And then with this hand, you're going to gently just pull your head to the side. Now, you could hold this here, and you should be getting a nice stretch from behind your ear or in the upper part of your neck, just right where your skull meets your neck, really. And it should be going down your arm. You should be feeling that. What I would then go on to do, if you're comfortable to do so, and again, this pain shouldn't be this stretch shouldn't be painful. Not this painful shouldn't be a stretch. You could just push back into your hand. So it will take the stretch out for a second or two, but you would hold this for about 10 seconds. And then release, and then what you'll find is your head, mine did go a little bit lower, and then you would hold it, and then you can put more pressure on there. Now if you chose to do these, what you would do is hold for 10 seconds and then push for 10 seconds. I'm not yanking my head and I'm not shoving my head into my hand, I'm just applying a little bit of pressure there. And then relax again. And again, as you saw, my head went down a little bit further. So then I can push back into there. So you would do it for 10 seconds on, 10 seconds off, effectively. Or 10 seconds pushing, 10 seconds pulling, whichever way you want to look at it. And then let it relax again. So you would do that 3 times. You're not going to be there forever and a day doing it. But as you can see, I've got a little bit more mobility going in there. So when I first moved my head, I was sort of maybe that angle. And then when I finished, I was down a little bit. So a little bit more length going on in that shoulder. But by all means, you do not have to do the pushing back into your hand. You can just hold the stretch down like that with a bit of assistance with this hand, just putting a little bit of pressure on there. You don't have to do the push back. What I would say is if you do go and do the push back and you find that it's painful, don't do it. Just do the stretch where you're doing that. So you do that both sides and make sure you're getting some nice length back in those muscles, and that will help to ease the top of your traps there for you. What we'd then go, I've demonstrated this before, but we'll go through it again. It's to get right through the back here and a little bit down into your arm, or depending on what you've been up to, you might get all the way down into your arm. So shoulder down again, and then just pulling across. So again, not painful, should just feel a nice stretch going through your shoulder. And then you would hold that for 45 seconds, relax, and then repeat twice. And actually that is quite a nice stretch. It's really getting across my back there, which is lovely. And just breathe and relax into it. And repeat on the other side, obviously. So that's going to open up the back of your shoulders. We're doing a little bit on the top of your shoulders. What we want to look at doing is opening up a little bit through here. So what we can do is clasp our hands behind our backs, so like so. You would bring your shoulders down and pull back when you're doing this. So you're getting a stretch. I'm feeling that through both sides. So you don't have to do one side then the other. This will do both sides. And again, relax into it. Try not to hitch your shoulders up. Keep them nice and down. And then push back. Only go as far as comfortable for you. What I would say is if you're struggling to clasp your hands behind your back, you can, I'll demonstrate with a towel, you can have a towel in your hands or a strap or a belt or something like that. So you would hold like that and then pull back. So you're not, if you haven't got the flexibility to have both your hands together, then use a towel. You're still getting the stretch across here. You're just not clasping your hands. Obviously I do that fairly frequently, so I can clasp my hands, but you might find, depending on what's going on with your shoulder, you might find that actually you can't get quite that range of movement. But key points to remember: shoulders down and push back as you're doing it. Use a towel or a belt or a strap of some sort if you need to. That's absolutely fine. It's still going to get the stretch across here, and you should be finding it comes right across the front there. And that will do a brilliant job at opening your chest back up, instead of if we've been sitting badly and we've rolled round on the shoulders there, so it will keep it nice and open for you. Okay, so we're opening the chest up. What we need to look at doing is getting this neck sorted out. So again, if we're sitting with our head forward and down, or not in the correct position, these muscles are taking a little bit of a battering, should we say. So we can do two main stretches. One would be, I call it the double chin stretch, but you'll see what I mean in a minute. So you're going to effectively push your chin into your chest. You should be feeling that right around here, and it undoes that forward head position that I keep talking about. So when we're sitting like that, we're shortening here. When we bring our head back like that, we're getting a nice stretch through the back there. And again, you would hold that for a good 45 seconds and repeat. What I would say is if you are getting headaches and things like that, or you're getting that really horrible bit here, that is a great stretch to undo that a little bit, and say undo that sitting with your head like that. I mean, I caught myself doing it last night watching TV, and I was like, goodness sake. It's easy to drift into, so just remember to try and sit properly. But if you have noticed you've been sitting like that, just bring your head back, and effectively you're getting a nice stretch through there. And then again, I've gone through this one before, but you can, to get through the back there, bring your chin to your chest, so nice and down, and you should find that stretches. Again, with me, it stretches quite far down my back. So it's working all those muscles that interlock into your spine or wrap round your spine. And again, they take a lot of pressure. But bringing your head down towards your chest, so chin to chest, you'll get a nice stretch through there. So you're effectively getting a stretch right up here, and on me I can feel it down to about there. And that feels quite nice. It's getting a nice stretch through. So hopefully those will help. We're looking at opening the chest back open, or opening it up again, loosening the shoulders up, loosening these trapezius muscles up, and loosening those neck muscles up. And hopefully I'm getting a bit of mobility in to start with. What I would say is, if you're finding that you're getting a little bit uncomfortable during the day, by all means stop and do these stretches. They're a good way to prevent further discomfort, and hopefully make you more comfortable. Bye bye.